Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? My name is Tony Rizzano, and this is another episode of the world famous, the University Love, the best podcast in one, two, three galaxies. But, ladies and gentlemen, you and I, we just call this show Online Marketing Moves, and we are coming to you live today. Today is Thursday, the 20. What's the day? Oh, I know what today is. Today is May the 23rd, 2024. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I was just joking around, but today is a very, very important day. It's one of the best days. Today, ladies and gentlemen, my beautiful wife, it's her birthday. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, as you listen to this podcast, we're probably eating ice cream cake as we speak. My wife, she enjoys an ice cream cake. But, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know why, but I just want to say happy birthday to my beautiful wife. Hope you enjoy your day. She's going to have her friends come. They're going to celebrate. It's going to be a very lovely day. But before we do all that, ladies and gentlemen, we have something very important to talk to you about. Today, we are going to talk about the marketing highs and the marketing lows of the WNBA. Now, there's a lot of talk about the WNBA these days. People people complain about the pay. People complain about the charter flights. I don't understand any of that. I have watched the WNBA since it started way back in the 90s. My favorite team in the WNBA was the Houston Comets. They were the four-time WNBA champions, and this is what this is. Now I enjoy women's basketball. I think women's basketball is a great sport. I think the NBA, the WNBA, whoever's in charge of it, I think they have done a poor job over the years of marketing the WNBA, the times, the season. Um, just an overall, I don't think the greatest job when it comes to marketing the WNBA. And I think that there's a lot of talk about women's sports and blah 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 blah. But if you are a sports fan like I am, and you have been watching women's sports for since since the 80s, the 90s, you already know that they have they have always done a poor job when it comes to marketing women's sports. Now they're on full display at the Olympics, and then it's like that's it. I remember, 1992, 1996, they were, women's basketball, watch the Olympics, the Cheryl Swoops, Lisa Leslie, all these people, all these great players. They would go from college, you would see them on the Olympics, and then nothing. Okay, you're like, where are they at? Where do they go? What do they do? Now that I'm older, now they went to foreign countries. All these other countries, Russia, they have women's leagues throughout the winter time. And basketball, in my opinion, now we're talking about the WNBA. Basketball, in my opinion, should not be the WNBA. I think the biggest mistake that they make is why are they in the summer? I think people would enjoy, because in the fall you have you have football, and then basketball comes along, college basketball, women's college basketball, and I think that the WNBA will be a great fit in the fall schedule. However many games they have, 40 to 50 games, then you would get more eyeballs, because people that live in Minnesota is cold. You will be you know uh people tend to be more around their TV in the fall than in the summer. In the summertime, I'm a big I like the WNBA, and I watch games. But in the summertime, you're like, all right, you want to be outside, you want to be here, you want to be there. Especially, live in Atlanta. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. It's one of the best places to be in the summer. You don't want to be sitting in the house all day waiting on WNBA games. Now I know you can watch them on your phone and all this and all that. But me, the age I'm at, I don't want to sit there. I don't want to be out staring at my phone, watching WNBA, watching anything. I like to be at home. I like for it to be in the fall, and I would like to be able to find the station where they have the WNBA games from the time that they started the WNBA. In the summertime, you're like, what channel are they on? What time? There's never like a set schedule. There's never like there has never been a consistent, like, okay, we're gonna play games on this day. We're gonna play games on that day. These are the times. You don't see a lot of billboards. You don't see that many billboards. You don't. The marketing is terrible, and it's like, all right. And now this year, they talk about the pay, but they don't they play 40 games. Yes, I mean, I don't know why people think, you know, and the it's not that they're women, it's the revenue is not good. And I think if they change the revenue from, I think if they went from the summertime to the fall, I think you would be able to charge more, for ads. I think you would get more people into the stadiums. I think you would get more press coverage. I think you would get more buzz. You know, I understand because they go straight. They get drafted. You have this phenomenon. You have Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. And you have these people. They get drafted. Then it's all right. It's a month later. They are already playing basketball games, which is cool. But they're like, oh, what's wrong with Caitlin Clark? You do realize that they just played a long college season, and now they turn around and a month later they're like, all right, you went from college to now you're in the professional league, just like that. Can you imagine if they did that in the NBA? The NBA, they get like 3 months, 4 months. Football, they have the draft in what, March, April. They don't play to September. You have a break, and it's not, and people that want to see the players, whether it be from, I remember back in the day, Cheryl Swoops was big, Rebecca Lobo, Shamika Holesclaw, Candace Parker, all these people that got drafted, top, Lisa Leslie. It doesn't matter who. If you say, all right, they get drafted in May, they're gonna play in October. You're not gonna be like, oh man, they didn't play a month later. I don't want to see them no more. No, the anticipation is gonna be even better for them. So, in my opinion, the WNBA is a great game. It has gotten better. There are better because all the athletes in the world now are better because there's better nutrition and all that stuff. Don't get me wrong, but when it comes to women's sports, they do a very poor job of marketing, and that's just my humble opinion. I remember um whenever I'm home and that whenever I want to watch soccer, and I had to think to myself, and it is bad. Women, whenever you see the USA team, you know, compete in soccer in the World Cup, you're like, all right, all right, all right. But if I just want to watch, they have the it's the NWSL, National Women's Soccer League, which they have great games. But whenever I had to flip through the channel, and they're always on like it's never like, hey, at this time we're gonna show this NWSL. It's always like I saw one game, it was on Ion, and I'm like, oh, okay. I had just put my daughter to bed, and so I sat there and I was like, okay, this is a cool game, and it was a good game. I forgot who's playing. I think Dennis Rodman has a daughter, Trinity Rodman. and she plays soccer. And it was the team that she was on because they mentioned her a couple times, and and I think it was Orlando and somebody else. But the point is, they have great players, they have great women players, but they don't promote them outside of the Olympics. A very poor job by these leagues. If it's not in the Olympics, then they do a disservice. If it's not in the Olympics and it's not in college, they do a disservice when it comes to marketing, promoting women's sports. And you can say all you want, but how are people going to get you? You will not be able to, not to get preachy, but you will not be able to pay women basketball players, $5 million when they are playing in the summertime. It's not going to work. And so, the goal is not to be and listen, if somebody's making $250,000 to dribble the basketball, you don't feel bad for them. And I remember, when Brittany Griner, she got arrested and she went to jail in Russia, which it's a tough break. But one of the things that always baffled me is when they said, "Oh, she had to go to if the WNBA would pay them more, she wouldn't have to go to Russia." Brittany Griner was making $200,000 a year to play 40 games of basketball. She has a shoe deal. She's making she's making millions of dollars. You can't say, oh, she's not making enough money. What you can say is you will make more money, but the WNBA, the NBA, ESPN, all these people have done a disservice to this great league. Now the league is 20 something years old, and you still have to realize that 20 years for a place like the NBA, WNBA is still relatively young. Because I remember when I was a kid, when I was a little bitty baby, the NBA, my dad was talking about how much it grew, and in the 70s they say the finals was like on tape delay. But when they got lightning in a bottle, they got Magic Johnson and he went to LA, and they got Larry Bird and he went to Boston, and the Lakers and the Celtics were two of the franchises, and those two guys, and it just helped the NBA grow and grow and grow. And then they got this guy, maybe you never heard of him, named Michael Jordan. And the NBA did something that basketball is the NBA is good at. Instead of saying, "Hey, come watch," the Minnesota Timberwolves. No, they're like, "Hey, come watch Ant-Man. Come watch Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves." It's Michael Jordan and the Bulls. It's they market that way. And now the WNBA, they have a great basketball player, a phenom, in Caitlin Clark. She played at Iowa. She went to a team, the Indiana Fever, and now they are the WNBA is starting to get it together when it comes to marketing the individual player. Now they have always had great players, but like I told you, sometimes they do a poor job at telling people what time the games are going to come on. They do a poor job at having them play on like ESPN, ESPN2. I remember one point the WNBA, they had games on like Lifetime and some other channel. I was just flipping through that like 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago. I'm flipping through the channels and I'm like, Lifetime, WNBA, this what we doing? And it just has always been it's never hey, this at this time. And I live in Atlanta. We have the Atlanta Dream, the only team that's been to the NBA, the WNBA finals 3 times and hasn't won a game yet. Facts. Okay. And we have the Atlanta Dream. And sometimes it's like, when do they play? I have to get on my phone, look up the schedule to see where they play. And I just learned last year that they moved from they used to play where the Hawks play, and now they moved down to College Park. You know, they don't promote that enough. Overall, I must say the WNBA, when it comes to marketing, um, before in the last few years it's gotten better, but I would say overall they get a C minus when it comes to marketing. When it comes to they should definitely they now they're gonna do better. But you have all these great players. You have all these great players. You have to promote. You have to acknowledge, and you have to get more people to come watch the games. Now they are doing a great job this year because Caitlin Clark, like I told you, is the phenomenon. It's it's lightning in a bottle. She played at Iowa, you know. She's great. She took a team to high places. They played South Carolina. They lost. South Carolina's a great team. They went undefeated. South Carolina, they have produced a lot of great talent. They have in the WNBA, they have the Las Vegas Aces. They are the back-to-back defending champions. They have the best player in the league, Aja Wilson, and so the WNBA is growing. But the things that I hope that they change about the WNBA, and this is sports in general has done a not just the WNBA, but I'm just highlighting the WNBA because I want to see more growth. I want them to go to play in the wintertime. Like basketball is great, but in the summertime, it's like it doesn't it hasn't computed. It has not computed until and it hasn't computed into great results, in my opinion. I enjoy the game. Uh, you want to get more. You want to get as many eyeballs as possible on the game. So put it in the wintertime. Do games. Before the. There's always room to fit. You know, you can do back to back. You can do. Hey, we're playing early, or the NBA game plays early. The WNBA game plays the 8. The NBA game starts at 5:30 or vice versa or whatever, you can always do that. You can say, hey, what days or they're not going to be in the arena, or if they have different arenas, does not matter. But to me, I think you have to say where they're going to play, have a stable network, stability. The ESPN does a poor job because they can do more coverage. They're so busy yapping about the Knicks or the stupid Cowboys losing and all that kind of stuff that they should put more. They should put more money into the league. They should put more money into the WNBA. They should put more money into covering the WNBA. This should be, I just think that overall they have done the WNBA a disservice. And you want to write story, you want to create storylines. You want they have always been storylines in the WNBA. I remember the first year, Cheryl Swoops. I was excited to see Cheryl Swoops play for the Houston Comets, and I remember she was pregnant, and so she could not play. And so I'm watching the Houston Comets. I'm rooting for them, and there was this lady that I never seen play a day in my life, Cynthia Cooper. Come to find out, Cynthia Cooper, she went to USC. She is one heck of a player. In that first year, they was always champion watching the WNBA. That first year, it was a lot of, hey, watch the WNBA. I remember the 3 teams: New York Liberty, Los Angeles Sparks, and they had a focus on. They would talk about Houston because Cheryl Swoops, and I remember they put Lisa Leslie. She was with the Los Angeles Sparks. Rebecca Lobo went to the New York Liberty. Cheryl Swoops went to the Houston Comets, and so on and so on. And they had great people like Nancy Lieberman Klein. I think she played or coached. I can't remember that first year, but it was just a great thing, and they was always promoting the WNBA. But so I say all that to say what I got from that first year. I remember I came out of there ready to watch Cheryl Swoops, and I thought, man, Cynthia Cooper is phenomenal. And so I always enjoyed those first 4 years because the Houston Comets, they were back to back to back WNBA champions. And like I said, I think they need to change some things. They need to do a better job overall of just marketing women's sports. I don't care if they, you have to try different things. Put them on YouTube. Do streaming services. But you can't just say, all right, we have this league and we're not gonna show where they're at. I can easily every week, whenever I want to watch the Premier League. I remember I used to be off every Saturday, 8 a.m. I knew on Saturday mornings I was gonna watch a Premier League game because it was on NBC or NB or whatever, NBC Sports. I don't think that's a thing anymore. But every Saturday I knew it was right there. And you want to know another poor sport in it? You want to know another poor job at marketing? NASCAR. Now, I'm NASCAR done a poor job. And I'm going to give you a different example, but I'm just going to say this, and then we're going to get back to the WNBA. NASCAR has always had a fan base, and mostly it was a Southern fan base. And I remember every Sunday NASCAR would come on at 1 p.m. 1 p.m. Eastern or 12 o'clock Central Time. But I just remember it was the same time every week, either 1 or 12. 12 or 1 of the two. Every week, every race. Doesn't matter. Darlington, Talladega, the Atlanta Motor Speedway, did not matter. When I was a kid, 1 o'clock. And I remember they started trying to do like, oh, we're gonna do nighttime, we're gonna do Saturday evening, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. But no, we're not Southern, blah 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 blah. It's like, come on, NASCAR. If you are living in the United States, and if you ever, I was in, I was, I was, I was in around Talladega, which is in Alabama for you people that don't know. And I remember they had a NASCAR event that weekend. I saw 100 RVs outside, just in the parking lot. And I remember I saw a bunch of people, and they were wearing their Dale Earnhardt hats, shirts. They were buying Bud Light, buying smokes, tobacco. Now, I'm not saying anything bad about it, but this is your fan base. And NASCAR, of course, you want to grow, don't get me wrong, but what you don't want to do is alienate the people that have been so good to you. The fan base that love Dale Earnhardt, they the people from the Alabamas or the California, doesn't matter where you're from. The people that are hardcore NASCAR fans, those are the people you don't want to alienate. People that have been with you for a long time, and they try to kind of go Hollywood NASCAR, and it did not work. And I don't watch NASCAR no more, but I'm just saying. And so the WNBA, they need to change a couple things. They have a great product because they have great players. They have always had great players, and the players that they are getting are only getting better. Don Staley is doing an outstanding job coaching women's in South Carolina. It used to be when I was watching in the 90s, 2000s, there was two college teams basically. Well, there was more college teams, but the main ones was Tennessee, UConn. You would get Stanford would always make noise. Purdue won a championship once or twice. Baylor started cooking with grease. But the main two were UConn and Tennessee, and they produce a lot of great talent. But now you have a lot of different college. You have a lot of different women's college basketball teams that are always in the running every year. You know, you have the Notre Dame, you have the South Carolina, the UConn, Tennessee. Well, Tennessee done fell off a little bit. Rest in peace, Pat Summitt. Pat Summitt was always my favorite coach. But I'll tell you all this because they have an excellent pipeline for women's basketball players, and you want to capitalize on that. And what you want to do is you want to put them in a position to where people can see them, they can generate more money, and they can get paid more. That at the end of the day. And so do not be like baseball. I remember baseball, one of the worst things that baseball has done is when I was a kid, they would show baseball, they would show the World Series at like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It would be one game where they showed during the day. And that was awesome because when I would run home to watch the game. And now they show all the games at like 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. And I'm like, baseball, you know what? F you. I'm not watching this. I'm not staying up till midnight to watch a baseball game. I refuse to. They show them late. I don't know why. They do this to basketball. And and sports have become, very it's an oxymoron. It's weird to say this. But yeah, you want to market and you want to bring in more ad revenue, but when you already have a product that's already known, already quality, like baseball, you don't need to go to 9 o'clock every day. For what? Just for more money? Just for more greed? Get out of here. Now the WNBA, they need to switch it up. They need to go to become a fall sport. They need to set a time to where they're going to show the games. They need to say, hey, we are going to be on this channel at this time, this day, and they need to highlight. Of course, there are good teams they need to highlight, but they need to put a focus, a bright focus on the WNBA, on all the teams, all the players, so people can get to know all the top players, and so that way, whenever you are flipping through the channel, you go, hey, look, it's the Las Vegas Aces. I like Becky Hammond. I like Asia Wilson. I like the team, Kelsey Plum. I think that's her name. And you're like, all right, I'll check them out because I enjoy them. And who's the other team they're playing? They're playing the Dallas Wings, and you're like, all right, I'll check them out. And then you get to know those people, and you get to liking that team. You're like, all right, I'll check this out. But WNBA, C-. Let's do a better job at marketing. You can always improve. As I say, the main thing is take it off the summertime, put it into the fall, and let's go. All right. But ladies and gentlemen, that has been a look into some sports. Mainly we focus on the women's sports. Oh yeah. Also NWSL, do a better job at showing the soccer games because we all enjoy women's soccer. They are excellent athletes. And one more tip. Any NBA basketball player who happens to listen to this podcast, if you have a son, push them towards playing soccer. We don't need another LeBron James. He should have told Bronny James, Bronny, why don't you play soccer? We need more athletes to play soccer because we need to find somebody who can get in there and score goals. Listen, we have an excellent defense when it comes to soccer, but man, we have the hardest time scoring goals when it comes to playing top quality teams like Spain and France and all that. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's my advice. We'll be back tomorrow with all new episode of Online Marketing Moves. But until then, my name is Tony Rizzano. Thank you for listening. God bless. And as always, everybody, peace.